More breaking news out of Israel, where at least 8 people have been killed and dozens injured in the latest round of missile strikes launched by Iran. Israel's National Emergency Service says multiple locations were hit on Monday morning. Explosions were seen in the coastal city of Haifa, where missiles hit near an oil refinery. Central Israel's power grid was also damaged in the latest of the back and forth strikes over the weekend. Israeli officials say at least 23 people have now been killed since Iran's retaliation began. Meanwhile, in Iran, at least 224 people have been killed in Israeli airstrikes since Friday. That's according to the country's Ministry of Health. The IDF vows their strikes will only get more intense from here, but Iran's president says the country's response will escalate as well, putting more innocent lives at risk.
Israel knows no boundaries. They intrude wherever they want, with permission from America. We are by no means seeking to expand the war, but naturally, as our army, our powerful IRGC, and our dear people have shown, appropriate responses have been given so far. The more they try to escalate, naturally, the responses will become tougher and more severe. More innocent people may lose their lives.
Jeremy Diamond was at the scene of one missile strike in Tel Aviv and filed this report just a short while ago.
I'm at the site of an Iranian ballistic missile attack in central Tel Aviv. This ballistic missile struck this area in the early hours of this morning, severely damaging 3 residential buildings right behind me. As you can see, in this whole street is littered with debris as rescue crews move in and out, still trying to assess the damage, to find anybody who might be trapped under the rubble, and also to get people out of their apartments. There are also folks who have arrived here to try and get back inside to get some of their belongings and to make sure that their loved ones are okay. This is one of 4 ballistic missile attack sites in central Tel Aviv alone. In addition, there was a ballistic missile attack in northern Israel in Haifa as well. More than 70 people were injured in these attacks, according to Magen David Adom, Israel's national rescue services. And of course, we are seeing that these attacks are continuing to escalate, and concern is rising here in Israel about the number of casualties and how many more may come. Jeremy Diamond, CNN, Tel Aviv.
Let's dig deeper. CNN's Paula Hancock is now joining me from Abu Dhabi. Paula, thanks for being with me again. We appreciate it. Things are moving so quickly across the region. Tell me, what is the latest that you're seeing now?
Well, Ben, we are seeing the casualty figures going up in Israel, for example, now at 23. The early hour barrage of hundreds of missiles from Iran did hit a number of different areas. Tel Aviv, as Jeremy was showing you there, and also central Israel and some of the coastal areas as well. Now, we know that in Haifa, for example, alongside the coast, that city, there are still fires burning in some areas. There were some missiles that hit, or at least one hit close to an oil refinery in Haifa itself. Now, a number of residential buildings across the country have been impacted. We understand from authorities that most of these missiles are being intercepted, but we are seeing that a number are getting through. Certainly, Tehran, by firing hundreds of missiles at the same time, is hoping to overwhelm and overpower the missile defense systems of Israel. Now, when it comes to what is happening in Iran, we are seeing panicked residents in Tehran try to get out of the city. That we have seen gridlock on the roads heading north, a more rural and isolated area many people are trying to get to. Gas stations are overcrowded as well, as many are trying to escape the areas they believe may be more dangerous. Now, we've heard from the Israeli military that Iranian residents should move away and evacuate if they live anywhere near a weapons production facility, because they say that that is a target. This was announced on Sunday, and then just a matter of hours later, an announcement came from the Iranian authorities telling Israeli residents to move and evacuate if they are anywhere near the Israeli military. So both sides still claiming that they are targeting the military infrastructure of the other country. But clearly we are seeing residents and civilians are being impacted.
With Israel showing no sign of backing down, what's their end game? Some say regime change. For others, they say it's about eliminating Iran's nuclear capabilities completely.
We've set them back dramatically, but not enough. And that's why this series of strikes is not going to end today or tomorrow, but only at a period of time, which may take weeks, when we are absolutely certain that the nuclear infrastructure, with the intention of weaponizing and threatening Israel, is terminated.
What's clear here is that this is a conflict that has the potential to lead to a broader regional war with the risk of pulling in major powers, including the U.S. The Trump administration is already walking a major diplomatic tightrope. Joining me now is CNN Global Affairs analyst Kim Dozier. Kim, as always, welcome back. I want to start with the sort of physical battle. At first, it was the military leaders, nuclear facilities. How has this changed over the last even 48 hours?
They also took out some of the Iranian scientists in civilian areas, which meant civilian casualties. We're seeing them expand a bit to energy facilities.
The Israelis?
The Israelis.
Yeah.
On the Iranian side, last time they volleyed missiles at Israel in April 2024, they stuck to military sites. This time they're using a lot less care, and according to the IDF, the Israeli Defense Forces, they are using dumb missiles, ones that can't be guided. But Iran only had 2,000 some odd ballistic missiles to begin with. We don't quite know how many drones, and they have to preserve them because much of their leadership has been taken out, much of their air defenses have been taken out, and now every time they move a launch platform to try to hide from the Israelis are watching and taking those out.
Now, this means a lot of people are saying that this is the right time to go for regime change. The reporting over the weekend, we have it at CNN as well, that the White House decided not to go for to kill Iran's supreme leader, be part of that. What would regime change mean in this moment? Is Iran just that vulnerable? What is the question the White House is facing?
Well, the Israelis would like regime change. Netanyahu has said as much, but from the Trump administration perspective, the only reason to say no to the Israelis to taking out the supreme leader is to preserve the opportunity to go back to those talks, to use this good cop, bad cop, that Israel is taking out all of Iran's military, but also economic might, what it needs to survive, and then saying, okay, you've got to negotiate with us to keep your people fed. And keeping the supreme leader alive preserves that possibility, but I think it underestimates the pride of the Iranian regime having been taken out like this. I don't think they'll be back to peace talks anytime soon.
Yeah, we've heard so much from about Israel and the idea of the Operation Roaring Lion, but I actually was thinking about something else, which is this idea of like the octopus doctrine, that Iran was at the center of something with many tentacles that was always threatening to Israel. What do you see now with this latest proactive attack on Iran? How far has Israel gone in doing what it hoped to do?
Well, one of the reasons Israel couldn't do this before is there were hundreds of missiles in Lebanon pointed at major Israeli cities. It would have been much worse than the volley that we've seen hit Haifa and some of the suburbs of Tel Aviv so far this time around. But by taking Hezbollah out in Lebanon and by taking other proxies out, Yemen still has capability, but they're far away. They have really allowed this kind of attack to go forward. And this was one of the reasons pushing them into this attack. Never again would Iran be so undefended. So from the Israeli perspective, they have made their country safer, even if they're going to be facing this volley of missiles in the coming weeks.
And even now, it's not clear where Iran would turn to, correct, for any kind of support.
Arab leaders are speaking in favor of Iran, even Saudi Arabia calling them brothers, because in the Arab and Islamic street, people are furious over this. And even though the White House is trying to say, we didn't take part in this attack, they're still being seen as part and parcel and backing this violence against Iran, especially because they're protecting Israel.
You know, Kim, thank you so much. Always a lot of context when I speak with you. I appreciate it.